This story begins with gratitude. The author dedicates his work to his parents, Gretchen, Miles, and Reese, those who taught, guided, and inspired him. Two powerful quotes set the stage: Napoleon's wisdom about keeping calm when others lose their heads, and Sherlock Holmes' reminder that the world is full of obvious things we often overlook. These words hint at the book's core message. True financial wisdom isn't just about intelligence or formulas, but about seeing what others miss and behaving wisely when it matters most. As we embark on this journey, remember that the greatest lessons often come from the simplest observations and the people who shape our lives. During his college years, the author worked as a valet at a luxury hotel in Los Angeles. There, he met a tech executive, a true genius who had designed key Wi-Fi technology and sold several companies. Despite his intelligence and success, this man's relationship with money was reckless and insecure. He flaunted his wealth, carried stacks of cash, and even threw gold coins into the ocean for fun. His behavior was unsustainable, and eventually he went broke. This story introduces a crucial idea. Financial success is less about how smart you are and more about how you behave. Even the brightest minds can make disastrous decisions if they lack emotional control. The author highlights that doing well with money is more about behavior than intelligence. He shares the story of Ronald Reed, a humble janitor and gas station attendant who quietly amassed over $8 million through decades of saving and investing in blue-chip stocks. Reed's life was simple, but his patience and discipline allowed him to leave a fortune to his family and community. In contrast, Richard Fuscone, a highly educated finance executive, went bankrupt after living extravagantly and taking on too much debt. These stories show that wealth isn't reserved for the highly educated or well-connected. Instead, it's often the result of consistent, sensible behavior over time. Like fields like medicine or engineering, where expertise is essential, finance is unique. Someone with no formal education can outperform those with the best credentials. The author calls this the psychology of money, a soft skill where behavior outweighs technical knowledge. Financial outcomes are influenced by luck, but more often, they reflect how people act under uncertainty. This book aims to show that mastering your emotions and habits is far more important than mastering formulas. By focusing on stories, the author hopes to help readers of all backgrounds make better financial decisions, regardless of their education or experience. Finance is often taught as a math-based discipline, filled with formulas and rules. But knowing what to do is very different from actually doing it. Whether it's personal finance, investing, or corporate decisions, the real challenge is managing your emotions and sticking to your plans. The author points out that while we've made scientific progress in health, we haven't become much better at managing money. Despite decades of financial innovation and education, people still struggle with saving, debt, and realistic expectations. The missing piece is understanding that money is as much about psychology as it is about numbers. Money is everywhere, affecting everyone, yet it confuses most of us. People see money through their own unique lens, shaped by personal experiences, emotions, and beliefs. The author's years of writing about finance, especially during the 2008 crisis, revealed that financial events are best understood through psychology and history, not just numbers. To truly grasp why people make certain money decisions, like taking on debt or selling investments in a panic, you need to understand their fears, hopes, and past experiences. Money is one of the greatest shows on earth because it magnifies human behavior in fascinating ways. People do strange things with money, but no one is truly crazy. Our financial decisions are shaped by our upbringing, culture, and personal experiences. Someone who grew up in poverty sees risk differently than someone raised in wealth. Those who lived through high inflation or economic crises have perspectives that others can't easily understand. Even within the same country or generation, people's views on money can vary wildly. This diversity means that what seems irrational to one person might make perfect sense to another. Our beliefs about money are deeply personal and shaped by a tiny slice of the world we've actually experienced. Research shows that people's willingness to take financial risks is anchored to their personal history, especially experiences from early adulthood. For example, those who grew up during high inflation tend to avoid bonds, while those who saw strong stock markets invest more in stocks. It's not intelligence or education that drives these choices, but the luck of when and where you were born. Even famous investors like Bill Gross admit that their success was partly due to being in the right place at the right time. Our financial decisions are less about logic and more about the stories we tell ourselves based on our unique backgrounds. People's experiences with money are shaped by their environment, whether it's the era they grew up in, their country's economy, or their personal circumstances. For example, unemployment rates can vary dramatically between groups, and the aftermath of events like wars or depressions leaves lasting marks. No one should expect people from different backgrounds to agree on what matters financially. Their views are formed in different worlds, and what seems outrageous to one group may be perfectly logical to another. Understanding this helps us be less judgmental and more empathetic toward others. Financial choices. New York Times story about factory conditions in China sparked outrage among American readers. But a comment from a worker's relative revealed a different perspective. For some, factory work was a step up from even harsher realities. This example shows how different experiences can lead to vastly different views on what's acceptable or desirable. Every financial decision is justified by the information and experiences people have at the time. Even seemingly irrational choices, like buying lottery tickets while broke, can make sense when viewed through the lens of hope and dreams. We all tell ourselves stories that fit our unique lives. Money is a relatively new game for most people. Concepts like retirement, college savings, and investing are only a few generations old. The 401(k) didn't exist until 1978, and widespread use of credit and mortgages took off after World War II. With so little accumulated experience, it's no wonder people make mistakes with saving, investing, and debt. We're all still learning, and what looks crazy to one person might make sense to another. The key is to recognize that everyone is new to this, and we're all figuring it out as we go. Luck and risk are two sides of the same coin, guiding every outcome in life. Bill Gates attended one of the only high schools in the world with a computer, giving him a 1 in a million head start. His friend Kent Evans, equally talented, died in a mountaineering accident before he could fulfill his potential. These stories show that success and failure often hinge on forces beyond our control. Recognizing the roles of luck and risk helps us judge ourselves and others more fairly, and reminds us that outcomes are never as good or as bad as they seem. History is full of examples where the line between boldness and recklessness is razor-thin. Cornelius Vanderbilt and John D. Rockefeller broke laws to build their empires, but their stories could have easily ended in disaster. Benjamin Graham's investment success hinged on a single, risky bet. The lesson is that it's often impossible to separate luck from skill or boldness from recklessness until after the fact. And learning from others, focus on broad patterns rather than extreme examples, because the most dramatic stories are often shaped by luck and risk more than repeatable actions. Success can be a lousy teacher, making people overconfident and blind to risk. Failure, on the other hand, can make us overly critical of our decisions, even when we simply experienced bad luck. The real trick is to arrange your financial life so that no single failure can wipe you out, allowing you to keep playing until the odds turn in your favor. Recognizing the roles of luck and risk helps us forgive ourselves and others, and keeps us humble in both good times and bad. At a party, author Joseph Heller famously remarked that he had something a billionaire hedge fund manager would never have: enough. This simple idea is powerful. Many people, even those with immense wealth, risk everything for more, never feeling satisfied. Stories like those of Rajat Gupta and Bernie Madoff show how the pursuit of more can lead to ruin, even when someone already has more than enough. The hardest financial skill is knowing when to stop moving the goalpost and appreciate what you have. Social comparison drives much of our dissatisfaction. A rookie baseball player earning $500,000 may feel poor next to a superstar, who in turn feels poor compared to a hedge fund manager, and so on. The ceiling for comparison is so high that no one ever truly wins. The only way to win is to stop playing, to recognize when you have enough and resist the urge to constantly measure yourself against others. True happiness comes from appreciating what you have, not chasing what others possess. Having enough doesn't mean settling for too little. It means recognizing that an insatiable appetite for more can lead to regret and even disaster. Many people only realize their limits after they've gone too far, whether it's burning out at work or losing money in risky investments. The inability to say enough can have serious consequences, from personal burnout to criminal behavior. The lesson is to know your limits and avoid risking what you have and need for what you don't. Things are never worth risking, no matter the potential gain. Reputation, freedom, family, friends, and happiness are invaluable. The best way to protect these is to know when to stop taking risks that could harm them. After losing everything, Rajat Gupta reflected that attachment to reputation and accomplishments can be dangerous. But the real lesson is that some things, like love, independence, and happiness, are priceless and should never be put at risk for more money. History of Ice Ages teaches us about the power of compounding. Small changes, like a slightly cooler summer, can snowball into massive, world-changing events. Similarly, in finance, small, consistent actions over time can lead to extraordinary results. The story of Earth's ice ages shows that you don't need tremendous force to create tremendous outcomes. The key is persistence and patience, letting small advantages build up over time. Warren Buffett's fortune is often attributed to his investing skill, but the real secret is time. He started investing as a child and has been at it for over 75 years. Most of his wealth was accumulated after age 50. If he had started later or stopped earlier, his net worth would be a fraction of what it is today. The lesson is that compounding works best when you give it time. Consistency and longevity matter more than chasing the highest returns. Compounding is counterintuitive. Small, steady growth can lead to mind-blowing results over time. Most people underestimate its power because we think linearly, not exponentially. Whether it's hard drive storage or investment returns, the biggest gains come from letting growth build on itself year after year. The best investment strategy isn't about hitting home runs, but about earning good returns that you can stick with for the longest period possible. That's when compounding truly works its magic. Many people focus on earning the highest possible returns, but the real key to wealth is consistency. Huge returns that can't be repeated are less valuable than steady, repeatable gains. The most successful investors aren't those who take the biggest risks, but those who stick to a sensible plan for the longest time. The practical takeaway is to focus on strategies you can maintain, rather than chasing the next big thing. Let compounding do the heavy lifting. Getting wealthy and staying wealthy are two different skills. While there are countless ways to build wealth, there's only one way to keep it, a mix of frugality and paranoia. The story of Jesse Livermore, a legendary trader who made and lost fortunes, illustrates this point. Even the most successful investors can lose everything if they don't manage risk and stay humble. The lesson is to protect what you have, avoid unnecessary risks, and remember that staying wealthy requires a different mindset than getting there. Money decisions are rarely made with spreadsheets alone. They happen at the dinner table, in meetings, and in moments of stress or hope. Our choices are shaped by personal history, ego, pride, and even marketing. Understanding the emotional side of money helps explain why people make decisions that seem irrational from the outside. By recognizing the role of emotions, we can make better choices and avoid common pitfalls. Extreme success stories are often the least useful for learning because they're shaped by unique circumstances and luck. Instead, focus on broad patterns that apply to many people. For example, people who have control over their time tend to be happier. Studying the average person's experience provides more relevant lessons than analyzing billionaires or spectacular failures. Look for common threads, not outliers, when seeking financial wisdom. As much as we recognize the role of luck in success, we should also forgive ourselves and others for failures. Risk means that even good decisions can have bad outcomes. The trick is to arrange your finances so that no single setback can ruin you. By understanding the roles of luck and risk, we can be kinder to ourselves and more understanding of others, knowing that outcomes are never entirely within our control. Saving money is a relatively new concept for most people. Retirement accounts, college savings, and even widespread investing are only a few decades old. With so little experience to draw from, it's no wonder people struggle with saving and investing. The key is to recognize that we're all learning and to approach saving with patience and humility. Start small, be consistent, and let time do the rest. Many financial mistakes stem from the fact that we're all new to the modern money game. Whether it's taking on too much debt, failing to save, or making risky investments, these errors are part of the learning process. The important thing is to learn from mistakes, adjust your behavior, and keep moving forward. Remember, no one is crazy. We're all just figuring it out as we go. Stories are powerful tools for understanding money. They help us make sense of complex concepts and see the human side of finance. The author uses short stories to illustrate key lessons, making them relatable and memorable. By focusing on stories rather than abstract theories, we can better understand the psychology of money and apply its lessons to our own lives. This book is structured as 20 short chapters, each focusing on a key aspect of the psychology of money. The chapters can be read independently, and the goal is to make each point clear and actionable. Rather than overwhelming readers with hundreds of pages, the author aims to deliver concise, powerful lessons that stick. As we move forward, keep in mind that the greatest financial wisdom often comes from understanding yourself and your behavior, not just the numbers.